We should be live. So, House of the Dragon is back. And, the first two episodes, I think, were pretty good for the most part. Um, I actually have no plan about how we're gonna talk about this today. Um, but yeah, yeah. Say something. I'm not good at this. Hey, free.
Well, I mean, I guess we should talk about why the original plan was to do one of these after each episode, but obviously I had the window replacements and everything, so that wasn't, that kind of threw a monkey wrench into things. Turns out the window replacement went incredibly smoothly. Like we could have technically gone ahead with it, but by that point I was just like, you know what, Elden Ring DLC's coming out, so. So that's gonna like capitalize on a shit ton of time.
Yeah.
Um,
Also, because of my work schedule, it's gonna be hard to do these, like, consistently. Like, we literally can't do it at the same time every week. It's whenever I happen to be available, you happen to be available, Pagan happens to be available.
yeah.
Because we're all dealing with stuff. But I do want to try to have this be a weekly thing, if possible. I think it's
And
only
I,
8 episodes this season, so I think we can make it work for the next 6 weeks.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, genuinely. Oh, I guess to start things off with a bit of a negative on the show, uh, I do not like their new intro.
no.
Yeah, I did not like the intro.
Yeah,
Like it's too. It feels too try-hardy, and the tavern. It's supposed to be like, look at us weave our rich history, our rich tapestry of our of our house, but it's doesn't have like the fine details to make things clear, and it just it's not as visually impactful as blood literally seeping on a table.
yeah. Um yeah, and that's the thing I talked about with you guys when we first watched the episode is with Game of Thrones, it's a very visually distinct opening. It shows you 3 or 4 major locations that are always there, then a few additional locations that have plot relevance, such as the Eyrie or Harrenhal or whatever.
Or the twins, or yeah.
Yeah, and it's very easy to like grasp where everything is because that's one of the brilliant designs of that intro is it seems to be made to give you a scale of the world and how far apart everything is, which gets extra funny towards the end of the show where people just start teleporting.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the intro for Game of Thrones really set the scale of the world, and it was generally easy to understand where everything is in relation to each other.
Yep.
House of the Dragon, it was all about, well, I should say season 1. It was all about bloodlines, where the Targaryen bloodline, starting with Aegon the Conqueror and going all the way down to present day in the show in House of the Dragon. And it's interesting seeing how the bloodlines are flowing, especially towards the end of season 1, because it starts getting involved with the characters we're seeing in every episode. And then, like, oh, one of these seals that wasn't turning red before is, well, it's a character that just got fucking killed off.
Yep.
And, yeah, it's a pretty neat intro. Here, with season 2, it's a tapestry being woven, and it moves across to a bunch of different images, and you don't really get to sit with them very long. Because I don't want to say it flashes them, but, like, you don't have enough time to take in any of the details. And
Yeah.
it just kind of feels like a mess. And
A lot of to sum it up, it's like 90% of it is seeing the stitch work being done, and then that last 10% is, oh, you quickly get the image, and then they move on to the next stitch work, and it's like, ugh.
yeah, and that's one of the big things I wanted to comment about is they usually like make changes on a per episode basis, and here it's like, but how are we going to be able to pick those out when we barely get to see what each thing is? Because with again, going back to Game of Thrones, it was obvious when it's like, okay, oh, the twins, okay, that's a place I haven't seen before. I guess we're going to be here this episode, and then you see them appear in another episode. It's like, oh, hey, I remember that place, because everything is like uniquely designed, so you could tell what they are just at a glance looking at them. Where here you've got all the detail, the little threads for each image that comprise the image. It's like, yeah, the image is already out of my head by the time the next one's being woven.
Yeah. Very, very strange choice. Absolutely a negative for the show, for sure.
Yeah, I want to grab this comment here quickly. I don't appreciate an intro where I have to pause, zoom, and enhance to understand it. This applies to both intros. And yeah, like, you should be able to pause an intro sequence and learn additional neat details. That's fine. But if you need to pause to understand it on its own, then yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah. Plus, at least we can. The one thing I could say about it is at least it's thematically relevant to the show. It isn't like the Halo show where it was just sand forming the armor for some fucking reason. At least here, it actually has a point. It is literally the history of the Targaryen family. It is the history of their house in Westeros.
Yeah. And current events as they're essentially being written into history.
I personally found the blood thing more easy to follow. That's because it was obvious what it was doing. Whereas with the tapestry, unless you know the Targaryen history, you're not going to know what the fuck they're going to show next. Or hell, even if you do know the history, you don't know if they're going to jump massive swaths of that history to what end. So, just
yeah. But between the two episodes, I've only seen them each once. I greatly enjoyed them both times. I'm sure taking a closer look at it, you'll be able to find a few things here or there, but so far it's just the intro sequence. It's a really big standout thing to me that I didn't like. Otherwise, I thought these episodes are pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they were pretty good.
Kritosis, would you also be covering the Duncan Eggs show coming next year?
I have no idea at this stage.
I know I'll watch it just because I like the Adventures of Duncan Egg.
But yeah, for the most part, I don't have any format or plan to go about this, so I guess I prefer not to go scene by scene by scene, because that tends to take fucking forever, and I don't want to be here for 5 hours. So we could just talk about just whatever that happened in these episodes.
I guess a bit more structure.
That's the word I was looking for.
For a bit more structure, what was a scene for both of you that stood out the most?
Oh fuck!
The one that you're just like, damn, that was fucking great.
There's a few,
or maybe the flip side, damn, that was bad.
There's a few scenes that stood out as being particularly good, but I really like that scene in episode 2 with fucking Otto Hightower realizing he surrounded himself with fucking idiots like Criston Cole and the King.
Yeah, that was easily my favorite part of both episodes, was definitely that scene, because it was just like
his facial expressions were so fucking good. He's calm and collected, and then he listens to what Aegon II and Sir Criston Cole say, and you just see it. His jaw slowly gets a little bit more lax, his eyes open wider, and then finally his mouth opens and it's just hanging open, and he realizes they're both fucking retarded.
I love when Aegon says, like, you know, well, Sir Criston Cole has done something, and then he just kind of looks at them like, what the fuck
Yeah,
did
especially
you do?
especially since he already told him to not do stuff when him and Aemon were planning.
Yeah.
It's like, I
My
fucking
favorite-
told you.
My favorite part of that scene is slightly later in that scene when he was talking to Aegon II, and he's like, you never understood your father or understood what made him the way he was. And he's like, my father is dead. I am king now. And Otto Hightower just hits him back immediately with, and the realm is poorer for it.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
damn!
I also love how angry he is, because when he comes in, you know, like chastising him, fucking Cole is like, careful how do you speak to your king? And he's like, my king is my I forget what he is to him. Your grandson. He is my grandson and a fool.
Yeah, it's genuinely like great scene, and again followed up even more by Aegon saying like, and my father made me king, and Otto has that smirk because he knows, like, is that what you think?
Yeah.
And you could tell that fucking devastated Aegon because he's fucking crying later.
Fucking deserved, though. Holy shit.
Yeah, Otto is the one that made you king. Your father passed you over.
I also like how, like, that move by Aegon was incredibly impulsive, but just goes to show that oh yeah, this isn't gonna be like one side is clean good or bad. It's like, no, both of them are doing fucking stupid things because they've got
Yeah.
impulsive people on both sides.
Yeah, people that are just way too hot-blooded. And that was Jesus Christ, I can't remember his fucking name now.
Who?
Viserys' brother.
Oh, Matt Smith,
the
Daemon
King
Targaryen.
Yes, Daemon. Jesus Christ, I couldn't remember his fucking
Yeah,
name.
Daemon.
To save
The
my
thing,
life.
the thing that was happening in my mind was going, Matt Damon, because some of the other streamers I watch, like fucking Nerdrotic and stuff, they accidentally called him Matt Damon, so it's become a running joke. And I was trying to think of the name, and that's all I could think of.
Yeah. Yeah, again, he is obviously a man of action. He doesn't think he would not have been a good king, like, at all.
No.
And it's shown in this. His whole impulsive decision of, like, a son for a son and things like that. It's like, no, Rhaenys, she had fucking sympathy because now, in the midst of not hostilities, I mean, there's conflict, there's friction, but there's not open hostilities. In the midst of that, there was kinslaying. Like, holy shit! Like, Rhaenys is the victim. The queen looks like she is a victim in this situation. She has sympathy from the other houses, and then fucking Daemon, like, here, have the rat catcher and a gold cloak go in and murder Aemon. Like, if they had gotten Aemon, it would have been, okay, it was understandable vengeance. It could have been seen as, like, the wrath of the gods coming to get him for kinslaying.
Mm-hmm.
But no!
The fucking two idiots are just like, oh, we didn't find him, but we did find the heir. Oh, small child, guys. Let's fucking kill him. It's like, you fucking retards.
Yep, blood and cheese. It's just, man, oh man.
And they were both so stupid they got caught.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
the one
actually-
technically didn't get caught, but
Yeah.
you know, he got caught up in the rat catcher genocide, basically.
Yeah, but I mean,
Honestly-
and that was kind of Otto's point of like, you fucking idiot. We had sympathy from even the small folk. There were people singing our praises in the streets, and you threw it all away. You dumb fuck.
Yep.
One thing I am kind of surprised about is that the rat catcher didn't fucking abandon the city, because like
Yeah.
the queen saw him, and it was the servant saw the gold cloak,
Yeah.
but he held a knife to the queen's throat.
Also, I love so you had picked up on what the queen had said, and we know that she is a Targaryen dreamer, so she can see the future. She just can't interpret it like exactly. So her saying that she's not afraid of the people, she's afraid of the rats, is so fucking good. I love how Kree was just like, "Ooh, that's
Yeah.
very interesting."
I did find it weird though that they didn't just round up all the rat catchers and have her like point out the one who did it, you know, like,
Well,
oh
That's
yeah,
what
he's
they
the
should
guy
have
who,
done. I think that's
yeah,
part of what Otto's point is. That's what they should have fucking done. But no, impulsive idiot was like, just hang all the rat catchers. So fucking great. Now
And-
who's gonna catch the rats in the keep, you dumbass?
That actually does make a lot of sense for an impulsive, like, stereotypical stupid king to do too, is, oh, hang them all, you know?
yeah,
Also, I love how much of a piece of shit Criston Cole is turning out to be. Because I don't know, when I read Fire and Blood, I didn't like Criston Cole ever. I was never a fan of Criston Cole. So him being such a piece of shit is like totally in fitting with how I envision him, especially later on in the books. And again, I'm not going to spoil anything like that, but fucking hell, I think it's perfect.
Oh yeah, he is, the actor does a really good job of playing this insufferable, really hateable bastard.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And the
It
fact
is-
that he
it's
tries
great.
to blame his own failing on another, and he's just like, yeah, go by yourself and kill your brother. Which is-
not even kill
which
your
is-
brother, kill your brother's queen.
Well, yeah, kill your brother's queen, but it's like, it's pretty obvious he's probably going to have to fight his brother at some point while he's there. So it's like, yeah, that's going to turn into kinslaying just like by default. So it's pretty much a suicide mission anyway. And it's like, wow, what a fucking dickhead.
I felt so incredibly bad when Eric killed his brother, though, and then he had to commit suicide in front of Rhaenys. Like, holy shit!
Yeah. That's one thing I mentioned
felt
after...
so fucking bad.
Yeah. That's one thing I mentioned after the episode is, damn, I was kind of hoping they would do more with those characters because you had something interesting going there. And,
Mhm.
I mean, it makes sense for him to go out that way, but, like, damn, that sucks. He just lost both of those characters just like
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
But, I mean, that is how things go in this world, so...
I do like the way he did it though. Like they didn't do like the stereotypical they can push a sword through their entire sternum like with just their physical force like you see in a lot of other things. He actually had to like drop to the floor on his sword in order to impale himself. And I'm like, yes, that is
Yep.
how you would do it in real life.
Yep.
There was a few things like that where I was like, I'm impressed. Like the fact that they had an actual whetstone for
Yes.
sharpening swords instead of the dry fucking thing that they do in other shows.
The Skyrim dry sword where you hear king 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 as it's metal going against dry hard stone.
By the way, just quickly, you've been corrected, Setch. The queen is Rhaenyra. Rhaenys is the older lady who married the sea snake.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
You fucked up!
Sorry, it's another fucking like Elden Ring situation where everybody's
Yeah, it
name
is.
is so fucking similar, and then
it
you'll
is
say
very
it,
hard to remember the
realize you got
names
the
of all the
name
characters.
Yeah,
So
you
you're
realize you got a
saying...
name correct, but it's for the wrong person.
So you're saying we could blame George for the naming conventions in Elden Ring with, like, Radagon, Radon,
The worst
oh
ones
god,
are
the
Melina,
M's.
Melania, Mikola,
Yeah,
Millicent. Yeah.
Godwin, Godfrey, Godfroy.
God,
Yeah,
Freud.
it is really bad. It's so bad. It's like,
oh,
why do they all
Hagen.
have to have the same name?
To be
Hagen.
fair, this is how medieval families, like noble families, did. It's what they did.
Hagen, did you tell Setch about the boss fight we had against what's that guy? Who I have his sword, the cursed sword.
Oh, yeah, Margit.
Yeah, Margit. Did you tell Setch
Hmm.
about the other Margit boss fight?
No, I haven't heard anything about the other one.
There's a boss in a volcano that's like one of the demi-human queens that has a name that is incredibly similar to Margot.
Yep.
It's like
Yeah,
Margit or something.
Yeah, it has like a slight like one letter change, and I was like, oh my god, I forgot about this. Yeah, the boss you get the jar cannon from has like the same name as and he was like, we killed it, and fucking Kree was like, wow, so that was the boss you like so much? That was easy. And I was like, that's not the same boss. They just have a similar name.
Of course, I kept shit posting after. It's like, wow, I was expecting a lot more from Margot.
My favorite thing about the demi-human queens in Elden Ring is that they'll try to use magic at you to show they're so sophisticated. They'll get angry and then they throw their fucking stick at you. And I just love that attack because it literally bunks you, it staggers you for a second and flies off in another direction. Like they just threw a fucking 2x4 at your head. I'm like, ah!
Oh god, yeah. I part of me wishes we had streamed those Elden Ring things, but at the same time, it's also like we could not have made like half the jokes that we make because YouTube would immediately demonetize it and take it down.
Oh, I would get fucking nuked from YouTube if we said even half
Oh, yeah.
that stuff on stream.
Yeah, if we even said half the stuff we said. Oh my god, but they're so funny.
They were. But yeah, I do regret not streaming that. But at the same time, it would have been like, fuck, here's an 8-hour stream of Elden Ring from like 10 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Yeah.
I had to actually cut off both of my DLC streams. And then I also said, it was like, okay, 20 hours is enough for people to get a general vibe if they want to play the DLC or not. And then I just went on my own, because then I could do TISM shit instead of having to keep forward progress and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I always feel like when I'm on the stream, I need to be continually doing stuff. I can't stick around and be super autistic and all the details and everything, because I need to keep going forward. And when I'm off stream, I can just sit there and like rub my face against every single wall and be like, is there a secret here? Found a few hidden walls, some of them that were very surprising. But yeah, that's I don't think that would be very entertaining streaming.
Yeah, I can imagine getting bored of that very quickly.
I mean, yeah, if you're watching, for me, you know, it's right up there because I'm chasing that high of finding that secret.
Yeah.
Such, will you be playing Space Marine 2? Yeah, but probably not at the start. There's a lot of really cool stuff. Starship Troopers Extermination just had a fantastic update called appropriately called the Carnage update. And it actually leaves the bug corpses around so they don't disappear anymore like they used to. They don't like blow up into little chunks and they die. And it actually it deforms the terrain. And what I mean by that is the bodies will actually act like an obstacle that will pile up, so you can get more and more and more corpses piled up, and you can walk on top of them and soak in the bugs. So you can get them piled up against your base walls now, and they'll actually like climb the walls itself.
Oh my god.
Really, really fucking cool. Like when battles happen now in that game, they actually look like these massive fights happened. Genuinely, really fucking cool.
Also, I want to grab this membership message very quickly because I've kind of let it sit there because we were talking. 19-month membership message from Thief. Thank you. Howdy. Don't care for the topic of discussion. Hope the show was and remains good for you, lads. So far, it's good.
Yep.
Because that was a concern a bunch of people had, myself included, was, okay, Season 1 was solid for the most part. Episode 9, yeah. But otherwise, pretty good for the most part. Now, will they be able to handle it well in Season 2? Can they keep the momentum going? And so far, yes.
Also, very, very happy. And this is the thing that I remember Cree called out immediately as well. Was,
yeah, I was wanting to get to this.
Yeah, very happy that they called out the fact that she could have killed the fucking usurpers immediately. Rhaenys could have killed all of the high tower usurpers just instantly, and she didn't. And I love the fact that she gets called out on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a few good moments in these episodes where it's like, oh, I'm glad they called back to that.
Mm. What about the new Dragon Age? Hell no. You could not. I mean, you could pay me as a bounty to do it, but I don't know why you would. Otherwise, yeah, if I'm not being paid to do it, I will not touch the new Dragon Age at all, ever.
Another moment I really liked was when they were Rhaenyra had collected the dragon wing in the clothes of Lucerys, and they were burning it at a funeral pyre. And intermixed with that was Alicent Hightower at the Sept, lighting candles for the dead. One for Viserys, one for someone else. I forget who. And she hesitates, but she lights one for Lucerys as well, where it's like, I actually do really like that she did that. It's kind of showing she's not a complete monster. She realizes this is fucked up.
Yep.
Dave L says it was her mother. Okay.
Yeah, it's just really. I did like it because it shows that she doesn't want there to be this conflict.
Yeah.
But she knows that this is her house's chance, you know? So, you again, it's going to be brought up 150 years later. You play the Game of Thrones, you either win or you die.
Yep. See, the interesting thing for me is I don't remember what they said in the books or the show about who fucking wins this, so this is all new to me still.
Ooh. Yeah. Oh, dude. if they're... I was surprised that they did the rat catcher thing. I know it's an important part of the history, but I don't know. I figured that they might cheap out on that, and they just might make it like Daemon does it, just to like speed things along. So I very much appreciate that they actually kept the rat catcher and the gold cloak in. Blood and cheese. I'm super glad that they fucking kept them. But yeah. I hope if they are going to go with the way it is in the books, things are going to get fucking incredible. And I can't wait.
Oh, that actually just reminded me. I liked that bit right at the start of episode 1 where they're on the wall and the Stark, I forget what his name is, but he's explaining like, yeah,
Corin.
we can't... I'm sorry?
Corin Stark.
Corin Stark. And he's explaining, like, they can't send that many of their men down to fight their war. They need to make sure, like, the wall's guarded and stuff. And, fuck, I'm forgetting his name, the prince's name. Lucerys' brother. Either way, he says, oh, you're, keeping out, some savages in, like, the wilderness. And Corin Stark is just like, do you think my ancestors built a 700-foot wall out to keep savages out?
Mm.
Yeah. And then he's asked
700
like,
foot, 300-mile long wall.
Oh,
Yeah,
Cregan,
and
people
then-
are saying in chat.
Yeah, it's Cregan. It was Cregan, and they were talking about Torrent Stark.
oh. Yeah, and then I like how he like asks like what are you keeping out there, and he just says death. He also mentions the fact that the dragons won't cross the wall.
Oh yeah, that's
Yes.
a fucking neat detail too.
Yeah,
It's like,
when
what
the
the hell are
Conqueror
they
visited
scared
the
of?
wall. Yeah, when the Conqueror visited the wall, the dragons refused to cross it.
And this is the king who had like the biggest dragon of all time.
Hmm?
And he wouldn't cross the wall, so it's like, Jesus Christ. Why won't they cross? What is scaring them from going over there?
Well, as we found out, a single very pale man with a spear.
No! No!
Well, I see that got spoiled for you.
Oh yeah, that got spoiled for me. Of course it fucking did.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be fair, the meme of the fucking Olympic, the Northern Wall Olympics was like everywhere.
Dude,
Fucking reigning champion of the javelin toss.
it's crazy just how bad that section of the show gets. Like, just everything starts getting fucked. Hey, Gendry, you're the fastest. Run hundreds of miles, which is like fucking a week's walk at least, to go back to the wall, to send a letter, to get Daenerys to fly up here to save us. We're just gonna stand on this lake lake of ice all that time until you get back. And we're going to be staring down the undead the entire time, too, because they can't cross the water.
No,
Until
yeah,
someone fucks up.
Yeah. It's so bad. It's all just so bad. And then since Pagan already knows, the fuck up is compounded by another fuck up where he fucking shot puts the dragon that's flying around and not the one that everyone's trying to escape on, so he would have literally won. Like, see, the dragon that's not moving versus the dragon that's flying around and breathing fire. I'm gonna hit the one that's flying around and breathing fire, not the one they're loading all the people on to escape. Jesus Christ. The Night King kind of forgot that the people were trying to escape.
Also, God, I know we shouldn't be talking about Game of Thrones. We should be talking about House of the Dragon, but you've got me onto it now. I like how it's kind of a funny moment of the Hound throws a rock at a skeleton and it just hits it in the head, and the Hound is just like, dumb cunt. And then he picks up another one and throws it and fucks up his throw, and the rock lands on the ice, and all the undead simultaneously realize, hey, the lake is frozen. We could cross it now. It's like, motherfucker, the Night King was standing there the entire time. The White Walkers bring the literal essence of coldness with them that freezes everything. Why did they not realize this sooner? The Night King should have been striding across that lake like 5 minutes after he arrived.
The excuse that people say, oh, he was waiting for the dragons, so somehow he read the fucking script and knew dragons were coming.
What?
Yeah.
But why wouldn't he still kill them?
That's my point. Even if he was waiting for the dragons, he could have killed the queen, the king in the north, and everybody opposed to him, and literally won forever. And he would have had 2 dragons.
No, he wouldn't have won because Arya could still jump out of literally fucking nowhere to kill him at some point.
Jesus
God, I
Christ.
fucking hate that. Ugh.
Also, I like that people are mentioning that Daenerys' dragon forgot that it's not supposed to cross the wall, but it's like, no, you don't understand. Her dragons are like a part of her, so they're just as stupid as she is. So they don't have that like protective instinct to preserve their own lives.
Dan and Dave kind of forgot that they weren't getting a Star Wars movie.
Well, I suppose that's an
Uh,
interesting thing too. Is House of the Dragon, from what I understand, is supposed to be canon with the books. So this is a separate timeline or universe from the show. So I wonder
yeah.
if in the books they would still have the dragons cross the wall or not if George ever gets off his goddamn ass and finishes the book.
I know, George.
Because
George, stop being a perfectionist. Just fucking do
because like that is a very interesting piece of lore to introduce that the dragons won't cross the wall. And
And I mean, George himself is the one that introduced it in Fire and Blood.
oh, he put that in Fire and Blood.
Yeah.
See,
well,
that
remember,
I didn't know.
He also did a takedown of Dan and Dave in it when he talked about like scholars pretending to be, or mummers pretending to be scholars and shit like that. Like he had some fucking disses in that book against Dan and Dave.
That's great.
Like, yeah, in Fire and Blood, he literally said like the dragons will not go across the wall.
Yeah,
when Aegon the Conqueror was hosted by Cregan Stark at the wall, they would not cross the wall. They're like, or not Cregan, Torrent. Jesus Christ, I'm doing it for the Starks. When Torrent hosted him, they would not cross the wall. They absolutely refused.
Yeah, that is a very interesting piece of lore. And see, knowing that they crossed the wall in the show in Game of Thrones, it makes me wonder if... God, it probably isn't even worth speculating on, because we might not ever get the book, but it makes me wonder if they do cross the wall in the book, if they come up with a good reason for it, you know?
I like Dave L's reason. They would have gone across the wall, but it was cold. They needed dragon-sized sweaters. Yeah, as Dave L says, and we've talked about this before. I know Cree knows. Pagan might not know, but there is no Night King in the books. I mean, well, technically there is in history, but the Night King was immortal, and he was part of the Night's Watch, and he decided to declare himself king, and he was seduced by one of the White Walkers. It's not like there's no Night King as represented in the show.
Yeah, they have him, but isn't there also the Night's King, which is like a different entity, but still not the entity in the show?
No, because there was a Night's Watchman who declared himself king.
Yeah, no, I know that. I just wasn't sure if that was the same one as, because I do know they mentioned the Night's King with a plural there on Night. I wasn't sure if it was the same character or not, as the one you're referring to. The Night's King is the same thing? Okay, just making sure.
And I think you are correct, Keyman. I think Night King, in the books, the Night King was a Stark. I'm pretty sure that he was a Stark that was seduced by a White Walker.
Yeah. So yeah, the big bad that you're going to be seeing... Actually, I think you have seen a clip of him. Like, I shouldn't say a clip, but a brief moment of him in Season 4. The big bad leader of the White Walkers, as shown in Game of Thrones, the show, he doesn't exist in the books, at least not yet.
Yeah, I guess that's the caveat. We don't know if there is some Night's King that actually does exist.
Yeah, because they're still like extremely fucking mysterious.
Yeah. But we do know that White Walkers have come to the wall. Again, the Night King in the book is evidence, because the Night King's lover / queen was a White Walker.
Yeah. Oh boy, there's a fucking ice cream truck outside.
True Pop Culture 7. Oh, a live stream. Surprise, to be sure, but a welcome one. Loving House of the Dragon so far. Yeah, so are we.
You've seen the first 2 episodes, True Pop?
Bring him in.
Might invite him on if he has. Well, I mean, he's here, so I'm assuming he has. Otherwise, he'd be getting spoilered. At least to get ice cream. Hey, I'm tempted, but I don't have cash on me.
Yeah, and if the ice cream truck had Chucky milk ice cream, he would definitely do it.
Actually, that's the funny thing. I don't like chocolate ice cream.
That is weird.
Le gasp.
Okay.
I mean, considering it's I understand people having preferences, but it's weird because you like milk chocolate so much.
Yeah, I like chocolate milk. I like chocolate. I don't like chocolate ice cream. And here's another weird one. I don't like any orange flavored candy like Skittles or Starbursts or anything, gummies typically.
Mhm.
Except I do like orange sherbet ice cream.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And yeah, you don't have to have read the book. I don't know if Cree has read the book.
No.
But I have read the book. I have Fire and Blood. It's actually right beside me. I can go grab it real quick.
And True Pop said he can join. So God, I don't even know where we have a group chat with just us and him in my list. That's probably like buried quite deeply at this point.
I can look for that while you guys talk.
I think Setch just went AFK though.
I just turned around and I grabbed the book Fire and Blood.
No, I found
300 years before a Game of Thrones, dragons ruled Westeros. What a fantastic tagline for the book.
Anyways,
There we go.
yeah, I found the group chat. I'm going to restart the call over there with True Pop.
Yeah.
All right.
Re.
Oh, good. Now there's someone else here who hasn't read the book. I'm not completely out of the loop.
Maybe I think I'm the only one. I think I was always outnumbered.
Yeah, well, what we're talking about, Fire and Blood in particular, yeah, I haven't read that. Technically, I haven't read the Song of Ice and Fire books, but I have listened to the audiobooks.
Oh, interesting.
Hey, how are you, man?
Oh, I'm doing good. Cheers for having me on. No, House of Dragon. I keep watching Gary Muller's live stream after every episode. I stayed up, really late till night, for the last episode. I think it was like 3 a.m. my time. But yeah, if I went on the seas, I would have got into it earlier. To be honest, I bothered buying a live stream service for it, and I'm not going to use it again because I thought I'd watch it early, as soon as it releases. But you know, it's a shame.
I've been wanting to watch and listen to those streams, but I also don't want them to be influencing my opinion. So I'm like, I'll probably listen to them after we do this stream today. So, you know, episode 3 comes out on Sunday. We'll do our stream, then I'll listen to theirs after.
Yeah, there's just like there's a lot of like with the recent episode. I felt like there was a lot to unpack, like a lot of conversations, a lot of dialogues that, you know, I just watched the live stream like, okay, did I miss anything? Did I miss any details? That's mainly, I guess, what I watch it for. And yeah, and this show is just packed. It's just heaps and drove, leagues above shows like Acolyte, I suppose.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I was comparing it to Fallout after we watched the first 2 episodes, because same
That's
deal.
true.
It's leagues different. It's, you know, House of the Dragon. After after Aegon's heir is killed, you know, we have this like quiet scene where characters are just contemplating all the shit they have to deal with, and then comparing that to Fallout, where it's just nonstop, insane, stupid shit.
Yeah. While at the same time, and this is what was Kree had mentioned while we were talking about this, at the same time, nothing is progressing in the Fallout TV show. But things here in Fire and Blood are like, obviously, even though people are just thinking about things, you could tell that the wheels are turning. Things are progressing forward.
Yeah. Yeah. In the live stream, there's like, but keep an eye on this. Keep an eye on the twins. And I'm like, well, what? Why? And it's just like every little dialogue piece is definitely setting something up, which is amazing.
Again,
it's what TV should be. Yeah.
One of the best dialogue pieces, and I love that Kree picked up on it, was literally I'm not afraid of the people, I'm afraid of the rats.
Yeah.
It's so fucking good.
Well, everything from her seems significant to me now, because we know that she has these visions and can't read them properly, and that's what leads her to being such a fucking weirdo to everyone else's perspective, that, oh, she's just weird, she's just soft in the
Yeah.
head or whatever. So it's
I
like
think it's
when she says, "Oh, I'm afraid of the rats," to everyone else in the show, it's like, okay, whatever. But it's like, oh shit, stuff is gonna be happening. That is fucked.
Yep.
yeah. Um, End of episode 1. She points at the right kid. I remember watching that. I'm just thinking, why on earth would she do that? Was it possible that she predicted it, and she knew he was dead anyway? Something
Part
like
of
that?
it. Part of it is heavily implied that she saw this, which is why she was afraid of the rats. Multiple levels of reasons why to be afraid of the rats, though, which
Yeah.
I really, really love.
Yeah,
Because then, obviously, Aegon flips his shit and kills all the rat catchers in the Red Keep. Which,
Apparently,
who's gonna deal with the rats now, dumbass?
yeah, and the hanging of the rat catchers. Right, here's a little interesting detail. In the book, apparently it was Otto who ordered that, not the king, which is interesting. It's an interesting little change, but it makes so much more sense in this show.
I'd have to check. I don't remember Otto being the one that ordered the hanging of the rat catchers.
Yeah, my source is Gary, basically.
Well, I mean, he could be right. Like, it's been a while since I've read Fire and Blood, so
yeah,
I'll
if
have
that
to,
is
double check.
if that is a change, that genuinely sounds like a change for the better, because the way Otto Hightower has been portrayed so far is to be someone who's like intelligent. I don't necessarily want to say dastardly, but like he plans his moves in advance.
Mm-hmm.
He's a manipulator and a very fucking good one, I think. So I
Yep.
don't think he would make the mistake of, yeah, let's piss off the small folk by executing a bunch of people just to get one guy.
Yep.
And
And one more thing. Oh, sorry. Yeah,
go
on.
ahead, go ahead.
One more thing from the books, like, because I'm watching it with my older brother, this show, like religiously so. And he showed me this like animated clip of what happened with Blood and Cheese, specifically that segment.
Mhm.
It was a lot more dramatic, a lot more tragic. Like the assassins just ask her, okay, which kid are you choosing? And obviously she points to one another eventually. She does offer her in exchange. Very grueling situation. So she points at one kid. I think it was the youngest, and her reasoning would be, oh, he doesn't know what's going on either way. And then the assassins like tell him, you hear that, kid? Your mother wants you to die, or something like that. Some kind of
fuck.
line like that.
Yeah.
And then they kill the other kid.
Yep.
And now that kid basically has survivor's guilt. And
thinks that his mother
yeah.
doesn't love him.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, holy shit. But yes, that is part of what makes Blood and Cheese a lot more tragic.
I don't mind what they did in here.
Yeah,
Maybe that
'cause
might
that's
be
Well, it's because they'd have to set up a third son.
Yeah.
Or sorry, second son. They'd have to set up a third kid.
yeah, and that is one thing I want to mention too. Is I really like the moment where she identified which one was the male one, and the gold cloak was like, "Huh, she's lying. It's the other one then." And it's the rat catcher's like, "No, she's telling the truth." Because he seems kind of surprised by it, but like I like that he picked up that no, she did tell the truth there.
Yep. As Dave L put it, remember in the first season, she casually said he'll have to close an eye about Aegon getting a dragon, and then
Yes.
we know what happens. And
yeah,
then,
that's the one I was wanting to bring up there earlier.
Yeah, and then the whole time she has been doing embroidery and stitching, and it turns out that she was working on Jaehaerys' funeral shroud the entire time.
See, that I didn't notice.
See,
Damn.
those little details, man.
One thing I mentioned when we were watching the episode was the this scene where God, that the fucking names. I don't remember if it's Aegon or who. The guy with the sapphire eye.
Aemon?
Yeah, that's Amon.
I'm
Aemon.
terrible
Okay.
with these names, by the way.
Yeah,
They
I am
always sound the
too.
same to me. Yeah, let's just say eye patch guy,
Yeah. So
Joffrey
when
discount king, names like that. We'll
yeah,
get
so
it.
when Aemon is with the I think it's a whore, and
Mhm.
explaining like that he feels bad about Luke and everything, but and she mentions like, oh yeah, like you've become a man and stuff like that, and talking about like how grown up he is now, and he immediately goes into the fetal position while
Very
naked, and it's
deliberate.
like very deliberate, and it's like, oh wow.
Yeah, he does that, and then that's when he brings up his confession that he feels like terrible where he did it, and it's like, yeah, I mean, you're a kinslayer now. Things are not gonna look good for you.
Matt Smith is a kinslayer now as well, technically. So he's following his idol's footsteps, I suppose.
Yeah, it's just woof.
I did
Yep.
like that scene that he regrets it though. I kind of see. I like the idea that some people had after season 1 is that was an accident that he lost control of his dragon,
Mhm.
and I kind of wish they went in a bit deeper on that and confirmed it.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
opposed to it being an act of rage that he did it.
It'd be interesting to see how did he tell other people what went down? Oh yeah, I killed the little shithead. Or did he say it was an accident? To his mum and Otto.
Well, I think it's one of those situations where other people might have seen it, and that's how the news spread, because I don't think that's something he would just come out and say publicly. Like, maybe to,
Yeah, that he did it by accident. Yeah.
yeah, like maybe he would tell his mother that, hey, I fucked up, or something like that, but that's not the kind of thing you want to be public, and it obviously is very public. So. It seems to me like there must have been some witnesses somewhere.
I mean,
Somehow.
It happened right above the Keep of the Stormlands.
Yeah.
So Storm's End, that's what it is. It happened right above Storm's End.
By the way, guys, apparently Paddy Constantine, the actor for what's his name, Viserys, he retweeted out a meme or reposted a meme on Instagram. Viserys looking down from clouds of his Lego set being destroyed, and it's like his face just being all sad. I just find that hilarious.
Yeah,
I did like. I was gonna say I did like when Aegon loses his temper. He immediately destroys the model that his father had spent his life basically tinkering over and babysitting and making sure it was totally accurate and everything.
Very symbolic, but it's also just really sad that this thing he cared about and worked on all his life just gets destroyed in this fucking brat's temper tantrum rage.
Discount Joffrey. That's what I'm gonna call him. He's not a Joffrey. He's got more to him, I suppose. There is that scene of him crying towards the end of the episode.
Yeah, I said basically that was when he realized the truth. When Otto Hightower told him basically like, "You think your father wanted you to be king?"
Yeah. Oh. I thought it was more as well about his son as well. But no, that's a good point. Yeah.
I mean, again, he had just lost his incredibly competent hand because of his own petty arrogance, and his hand revealed to him, who was also his grandfather, that no, your dad didn't want you to be king. You were passed up, and the bitch over there at Dragonstone, yeah, no, that's who he wanted.
Yep. You'd think the mother would go to comfort him, but instead she walks away and screws Cole, who's everyone hating on right now.
Yes.
Weirdly enough.
I love it because Cole is a piece of shit.
He really is. It's
Yeah.
like the moments, like the first season is what 2 years ago now or close to it. So some things have faded from memory. I maybe should have rewatched it, but just haven't had the time really.
Mhm.
But that scene where he tells the remaining twin, like he's just getting on his case. Oh, your cloak is dirty. Go change that. The
It's a
cloak is a
symbol
sign
of purity. How dare you taint
Yeah.
it? Oh, speaking
And-
of.
Yeah, it's because he's projecting.
But not just
Really
that.
fucking
It's
up.
like just every little thing he's being a complete asshole about in this scene. It's like, oh yeah, I remember why I hate you now.
Yeah.
It reminds me of my favorite VTuber quote. I want you to die. I don't care if it's painless or not. I just want you to stop existing.
Yes.
God, that reminds me. Like, I know this is off topic, but that reminds me. I was watching something the other day, and hearing
Oh,
her.
shit.
I saw a clip of her playing Civilization, and she's just like talking to Gandhi, and it's just like, "Don't worry, you won't have to worry about anything ever again." She like raises the city and kills everyone in it. Kills Gandhi.
Also, just quickly, sorry to chat for coughing. I muted Discord and not OBS there. It's like, oh shit.
He did the
Wrong
opposite
one.
of what he normally does.
I fucked up.
Iron Man is like I said, I was worried that they weren't gonna do the rat catcher thing because if there was something I could see a production cutting, it would be the rat
Yeah.
catcher, and they would just make Damon kill the series. They would just have Damon do it. So I was super happy that they kept it because it is more important later on, but still.
Yeah, because the impression I get, and part of why I thought that rat line was so significant the first time around, of, oh, there's going to be a problem with, like, plague rats getting into the city and infesting the city as they're being blockaded, as they're being starved out, essentially. So things are going to get real fucking bad in King's Landing.
Oh.
And then you get the whole, oh yeah, we're hiring the rat catcher to go in and kill Aemon. And then they kill the heir instead. It's like, oh, okay, that's why she was afraid of the rats. But then they hang all the rat catchers. So it's like, oh, fuck.
good point.
Yeah.
So people are gonna starve, so they're gonna start eating rats, I suppose.
Worse than that, the rats are going to start picking off people that are dying everywhere.
Oh.
And yeah,
Fun times ahead, as usual in the
Congratulations,
world
you
of
have now
Westeros.
you have now this is the moment in Civilization where a new window pops up and it says the bubonic plague has been unlocked.
Also, I just want to grab a quick comment here in chat. You fucked up like you always fuck up everything else you do. Stupid goat at Kretosis. I still love that joke of like just something inconsequential but like bad happening in a multiplayer game where it's like, oh shit, I accidentally took your health pack, so you missed that like 10 health points to fully heal. It's like, you fucked up like you always do.
Yeah. That shouting was Otto in the episode. I loved Otto.
Otto's facial expressions were so fucking good. Like, he's calm and collected, and then he listens to what Sir Criston Cole and Aegon have been up to, and you see it on his face. His jaw gets slack,
Yeah.
and then his eyes start to go wide, and then his mouth hangs open, and he realizes he's in a room with two gormless fucking idiots.
And what did Sir Criston Cole do? I just looked at him with absolute malice. The twin thing, damn.
Yeah,
Because like, I wasn't expecting like the rat catcher thing to work. I'm like, these guys are lost. They're hopeless. There's no way Eye Patch guy is gonna be dead this early on.
Yeah.
He's too cool of a character. They're probably gonna mess up. And
Not
then when
just-
that scene happens, it just completely shocked me. So I was kind of expecting it again. Like, wait, I'm expecting him to fail, but I'm like, hang on, those idiots succeeded to some extent. So maybe this twin. Oh, it's just tragic. You know?
Well, I liked
either
that the way the twins failed, the
Mhm.
assassination plot failed, was because the White Snake realized, she was like, "Holy shit! Hold on
Yeah.
a second, what are you doing out here? I just left you with."
Someone informed me as well. The twin that survived was the one that was trying to assassinate her.
Yes,
Really?
Right.
yes.
Yeah.
Because remember, the one that died was the one with the leg injury. Who was the one that had the leg injury? Eric did.
Oh shit! I didn't realize that.
Yep.
Because it's easy to get those two mixed up.
Yep. And that's why the other White Cloak was like, which one's fucking Eric?
Yeah. Yeah.
That does make sense. It's like I knew when they were going to be fighting each other, it'd be a situation of like, which one's the real one?
I was half expected to say me. I knew the Spider-Man pointing me.
Yeah, well, yeah, I thought they were going to get to that point where I shouldn't have expected it from this show, to be honest, but I was expecting the fucking trope of both of them end up getting disarmed and they're standing beside each other. It's like, okay, which one of you is Eric? And they both say, me.
But one of them could easily defute that. I was with you eating breakfast yesterday, you know?
Yeah,
I
true.
suppose.
Oh, yeah, I
But-
meant White Worm. I said White Snake, didn't I?
Yeah, Whitesnake is a band.
White Snake. That sounds
Yeah,
better.
White Worm is what I meant.
The thing is, I was half expecting to, like, the winner of that battle, like, say, I have defeated him, my queen, and then he goes for the kill. Like, oh, it turns out the other brother won, or something like that. I was expecting that to happen, but no, he just falls on his sword.
Yep. And it's because, and again, he said exactly what it was. They are one soul and two bodies. That's how that he's always felt. So when he killed Eric, not only was it the wrath of the gods he knew would be upon him forever, but he felt like he had killed a part of himself. So he
Yeah.
just said, "Fuck."
Damn.
He's like, "I'm
All
done."
all this
with the
because
game."
Cole felt like a fucking idiot. What a
Because Cole's a petty, stupid piece of shit.
Yep.
like, dude. It was a long while ago. Get over it. All right. There's plenty of more fish in the sea.
Yeah.
All right.
You're currently banging one of them.
Exactly.
Again, that is actually feeding into his fucking his fucking manic depressive state. Is he's banging the Dowager Queen?
You know, I don't think he's still gotten over it. To be honest, I still think he's kind of angry at at that first breakup, and that's what's causing all of this little pettiness in him. Oh, the actor's getting shit on Twitter. He privated his
Was it
not
Twitter or
Twitter,
Instagram?
Instagram. Yeah,
Yeah, I
get
heard
mixed up.
about that. I don't know
It
why.
was the same thing with the actor that played Joffrey. It
Yeah.
fucking sucked when it happened.
I don't know why
He
people are
quit
fucking
acting.
insane like this, where, like, a character plays someone bad in a show or a movie, and then they get hate for playing the character well, because for some reason we have a lot of crazy people who can't differentiate between reality and fiction.
Yep.
Even though it's like, hey, he's obviously not Criston Cole, because if he was, his name would be Criston Cole.
Yeah.
No, it's...
And he'd be a fucking knight, and he wouldn't be living here. Like, what the
Yeah,
fuck?
exactly.
You mean to say he's an actor playing a character?
Yeah.
Wow! Amazing! Mind-blowing stuff. I did not notice.
Such Martin characters can't get over. Some of them can, but others, there's a lot of fucking trauma that goes into a lot of George R. R. Martin's characters. Holy shit. Tyrion, and Tyrion. Oh, Jamie. Jamie's a fucking great example from Song of Ice and Fire. Holy shit.
Yeah.
The amount of trauma he goes through is fucking insane.
I really like his turn in, I think it's A Feast of Crows. I might get them mixed up because I listen to all the audiobooks one after the next. But it's that whole bit. I don't even know how to describe it. It's just like almost every chapter where he's just fucking chewing on that thought, that last thing he heard from Tyrion, telling him about how Cersei is fucking everyone.
Yep.
And how just that gets under Jaime's skin. And then he finally gets a letter from her asking for help because she's been captured by the oh god, what's religious order? I'm
The
forgetting.
Sparrows.
The Sparrows. She's captured by the Sparrows, and she seeks for him to be her champion, and he just burns the letter. It's like, fuck yes.
Yep. Again, unlike Joe Shamey, who's fucking pussy whipped beyond belief. Yeah, no, book Jamie. He wants nothing to do with Cersei or his family entirely. He wants to completely remake himself to become known as Goldham the Just. That's what his dream now is.
Yeah.
Apparently, Winds of Winter is coming soon.
Don't give me hope.
Do you guys think that book will sell well now that it's been, waited for so long?
I
Yes.
don't
wonder
know.
how well.
Because
I think
But-
people are ravenous, honestly.
there are, but there's also a lot of people who are disenfranchised because, like,
Or
it's
forgotten
been well
about it,
over
yeah.
a decade. It's been like, what, 4,000 days? Well over that.
15 years, 10 years?
It's something crazy like that, where there's a lot of people who have just will have lost interest in that time.
Ain't fair, but we're also talking about like a bunch of book reader autists, okay?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Like,
True.
I said it a few years ago, and I stand by it. The second that book comes out, Setch, I'm buying it, I'm reading it, and both of us are going to do a stream talking about it.
Absolutely. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Dude, I know the preview chapters for Winds of Winter are fucking great, and I have been slathering all over them. I have been tonguing them viciously. Please, George,
That's
give
a
me the
very
fucking book.
descriptive word to use.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
You're a book.
very accurate.
Jesus. Gary has the
Um,
exact number of days, I believe. He usually mentions it on his streams, like anytime it comes up. Of oh yeah, by the way, it's been 4,437 days since
You
the
probably
dance
have
with
the counter
Dragons.
somewhere. Yeah, definitely. Right. I asked this my brother, who's like a giant book nerd and in general nerd about everything. Do you think George is going to change some stuff in regards to the Game of Thrones ending, or is he going to have to keep it the same? Because the rumor is that he gave Benioff and Weiss notes of what happened, and there was a lot better lead up to those moments, but they just executed them terribly.
Yeah. Well, I will refer to what Pirate Software has to say on this topic. Not this topic specifically, but it's generally related. A man asked Pirate Software, like, "Hey, I've been wanting to get into game design, but by the time I learn how to code and do everything like that, I know my idea will be done already." And he's like, "What do you think?" And Pirate Software was like, "You shouldn't give a shit. Nobody fucking cares if the idea has been done already. It's all execution, right? No one gives a fuck if the idea has already been tried. Keep doing your idea, keep doing your dream, make the game you want to make, because it is all execution. That's what will be remembered."
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing here. If it turns out the same way, we get the same end result of how the show ended, but we actually have proper build-up and setups and payoffs for it. Already, it's way better.
Yeah. That's the thing, though, is I'm fairly certain they took a lot of creative liberties with that final season, because when they had Arya kill the Night King, they're just like, oh yeah, well, it was set up to be Jon this entire time, so we wanted to subvert that, so we made it Arya for some reason. It's like, okay,
Yeah,
so
remember that was the
what
big
else?
era in Hollywood of subverting expectations was always good.
Yeah. But it's like, if they played around with that, then what else did they take liberties on?
Mm-hmm.
Just like, was Daenerys burning King's Landing down to the ground in George's notes, or is that something they invented?
Yeah, because with the way that I see it, and you could still have Daenerys burn down King's Landing, was because of Cersei. And Cersei, because Cersei's obviously become the mad fucking queen. I don't give a shit what anybody fucking says.
Yeah.
But you could have it to where she's been refilling all the fucking wildfire caches everywhere. And then Daenerys comes in to burn one thing, and it starts a chain fucking reaction. And it's like, uh-oh.
Yeah, and that would work. And that's something I'm disappointed they didn't do with the show, is Cersei was clearly going down Mad Queen territory. Like, I feel like there was enough emphasis on the Mad King and wildfire and everything, and Cersei taking interest in wildfire, that, yeah, it makes sense that that's where you would go with that. And then the show just has her drinking wine, standing on a balcony for fucking 3 seasons.
Must be good wine.
Yeah.
It's
Was it
still
the same
funny.
balcony the sun jumped out of?
It's still funny that Daenerys is burning the city to the ground. Obviously, it's fucking stupid writing, but it's hilarious to me that even Cersei is standing there like, what the fuck? What is happening?
Yeah, it's like, bitch, you literally just killed off, you blew up the fucking sept. This is one of those moments of like, it's real rich coming from you. Holy shit! Like the moment that happened with the sept, that instantly should have turned every single noble house that lost anybody at the sept immediately should have been like, all right, we're fucking sieging King Landing right now.
I hate how little came of that, and how I know we're spoiling stuff for Pagan right now, so
You just made me think of like when you were talking about like how Cersei is even looking out of the window like, what the fuck? Like when she should be like crazy. And I just had the idea of like Nero looking out over the balcony with his violin and just being like, what the fuck?
Well, at least we know House of Dragon has a ending, definitive ending.
yeah.
Trying to avoid any spoilers.
I cannot wait to get there because oh my god, it's really I can't wait. Again, it's the show has impressed me thoroughly thus far with how they've expanded on what's in the book without like they don't destroy anything from the book. You know, like some stuff's tweaked around, little shifts here and there, but and they've added a lot more to it because obviously, you know, the Fire and Blood is much more of a historical look back at what happened. Dance of the Dragons gets a little more storybook-ish, but not much. And Dance of the Dragons is literally what the war between the Greens and the Blacks is called when it's romanticized.
Yeah.
There's a much more appropriate name for it, but that's kind of spoilery as well. But when it's romanticized, it's called the Dance of the Dragons, and it has a bit more of the like people talking to each other and stuff like that. But it's still representative of this is the stuff we heard them say. You know, it was passed down by this maester who has now cataloged it in history. These are his words, you know, sort of thing. That's kind of how it's presented in the book.
Yeah, I've heard Gary describe it as it's told from 3 perspectives. A maester, I want to say jester, but that's not it. No, it is that, isn't it?
A fool.
Yeah, mushroom.
And
a maester, a fool, and a a whore, I think, a harlot.
I can't remember what the third one was, but I do think that's an interesting way to tell like um the general events of a story and having an unreliable narrator, because all three of them are like they're
Mhm.
gonna have their own perspective on it that isn't quite true to reality, so it leaves stuff in the air.
Yeah, unreliable narrator, and here we kind of much more
Oh,
reliable.
Dave
Um,
has it right. It wasn't a whore. It was a septon. A septon was
Oh.
also recorded it and put a more religious spin on it.
Yeah.
yeah, so it's more like historical documentation, I suppose, and like
Mhm.
I think Ryan said this, Ryan Cannell, that one of the episodes was just a paragraph in the book. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, we're getting so much more detail into like these little decisions, little dialogues. It's great. Especially with all the other shows being so shit, this thing it shines in there like a diamond. And yeah, I wanted to ask, what are your guys' like favorite characters? Who are you guys somewhat rooting for, even though they're nearly all assholes, I suppose.
um there's a lot of characters I like in the show. I really like Daemon Targaryen, even though he's the complete fucking bastard at times.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I like the sea snake, Corlys Valerion.
Mm-hmm.
I was impressed by his character in the first season. Like that one scene sticks in my mind where like he's got a problem at the small council, and the cupbearer is like filling everyone's cups, and he just not even looking at the kid filling the cups, he just puts his hand over the cup to stop it, because he's that focused on like, hey, this shit is serious, we need to deal with this. And
Mhm.
he's just a fairly strong character throughout. um I also like Aemon in season 1. We haven't seen too much of him in season 2 yet, but you could
Mm-hmm.
tell he's like scheming his own ways to do things.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so far for season 2, I feel like the MVP is Otto Hightower, because this is something I wanted to mention earlier when we were all talking about that scene, that one really good scene that's used in the thumbnail. Is he is a manipulative bastard, and I fucking hate what a piece of shit he is, and how he manipulated Viserys and everything, but it's
He misses
because
him.
he's so effective that makes him a really likable character. I don't want to see him win, but I want a lot more screen time with this character.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. The Sea King that you mentioned, he also had like a great monologue to his wife. I think this was it after the son's supposed death or not? That was organized by Matt Smith. I can't remember now.
Just mean Matt Damon.
I'm gonna call him Matt Smith because I can't remember his name. Because they all sound like Aemon,
Oh well, it's
Aegon.
Daemon Targaryen.
It's stupid these names. He had like a good monologue about succession. That history remembers names and not blood.
Yes.
And that's why, and him saying like he didn't mind that his grandsons are they grandsons? I can't remember. That they're bastards. You know, he doesn't particularly mind it as long as they take up the duty well. And the thing is that annoys me is just what's her name? Alicent, the queen, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Like
The Dowager Queen. Yeah.
Before season 2, she seems to be a good individual with somewhat of a moral spine, and yet she has these absolutely horrible kids. And on the other hand, the Rhaenyra, is
Yep.
that her name?
Yep.
I still think she's a terrible person. But she has such great kids that I think would make absolutely great kings. So it's a funny contrast, I suppose. Funny contrast of who's the better mother, I suppose. I suppose Alicent is always worried about the war with Otto scheming. She does. The argument is that she doesn't know how to be a mother. She was just thrust into this, I suppose.
Yeah, she's basically a pawn to Otto Hightower.
Yep. It's sad.
Yep.
Um,
Her house is playing the Game of Thrones, and she is not involved in it. And she had to actually. I like that she actually had to confront him on that. Like, you're literally undermining me at the small council meetings, and if they keep seeing you undermining me, my voice will lose importance to Aegon and to Aemon. You're just fucking this all over. Then how am I supposed to help steer things in the right direction? And then he, as he said to her, he didn't look at it that way. He didn't realize that that's what he was doing to her.
yep.
I also like that he acknowledges that, yeah, that's what was happening, rather than just like, oh, fuck you. I'm the one doing the right thing here. You're messing things up, woman. You know? It's like,
Shut up.
Yes, I
Silence, femoid.
That's the other thing too. As Dave L says, it's kind of funny that she thinks she has that much influence to begin with. Yes,
yeah,
but as we've established, she's in the show. She seems much more like she's trying to be the mother, and she thinks that motherhood is important and things like that. So she thinks she should have that influence, if whether she does or not is the up for debate.
just quickly, True Pop, did you see that Star Trek clip Mahler posted the other day?
No, I haven't.
It's a clip of Spock being contacted by Uhura, and he starts smashing the computer.
Yeah, I remember that. I replied, yeah, that's how I react to spam calls. Get them all the time.
I just responded, just like me, for real, for real.
I wanted to mention something, but it escaped my mind. Yeah. Allison is slowly being corrupted. She's going down, and I think she's eventually going to be a lot more eviler, I suppose, manipulative, kind of like her father. When I remember when Otto proposed this, how about we parade the body around the castle, to kind of win favor with the small folk, to make them grieve for the king's son,
and also in turn get the houses to call for us, because what house is going to side with a baby murderer, basically?
And she agrees with him. That was surprising. She's. How much do you hate your son to do that, or not care? Well,
again, I don't think it's so much that she hates or doesn't care. I think she realizes that yes, that they need all the help they can get, because when the whole usurping happened, they thought everybody would immediately just bow to them, and then they realized, no, we've now split the kingdom. It is actually going to be a civil war.
Yep. And the thing is, I think a Allison from a couple of years ago would not do this. Absolutely wouldn't have any of this of what Otto is saying, but she does. She tries to convince to proceed with this action. I was so expecting when the wheel got stuck in the road, when the whole car got stuck, I was really expecting that head to roll off or something.
Well, okay, so they showed that it was stapled back on. I thought the body was going to fall off, but before they showed the head stapled on, I thought the body was wrapped up and the head was wrapped up separate. Because when you first see that cart, you see that body jostling around quite a bit. I'm like, oh my god, is the head going to roll off at some point?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. I thought the head was either going to roll off or the whole body was just going to fall in the mud puddle, and I was like, oh god.
Yeah, I think both of us were like, oh no, when the wheel got stuck and the cart was rocking.
I would be mentally scarred. I don't. To be honest, if that happened, I don't think HBO would be like, should we do this? Is there a line?
We crossed the line here. I don't know.
Yeah. Like episode 1, man. I remember like reacting to it. Like I thought I heard it all, in how horrible the world of Game of Thrones can be. Nah, that episode, I was absolutely shocked. And people complain about the dog being caged. Like that's bad and all, but come on.
No, that was the worst moment of the show. The dog survived, but rip doggo. He
Yeah.
didn't deserve
The
it.
dog
He
w-
deserved better.
Yeah, the dog was
Most
still
abused
sad.
character in all of Westeros.
Yeah. The dog was still sad that his owner died.
Yeah, that did
Weirdly
make me
enough.
sad.
Mm. But it's just like if the whole Kinslayer thing like that just like triple confirms. Oh yeah, there is going to be a war happening. There's no way around this at all. Like I thought it was like, okay, war is locked in with that accidental death, but now it's like, okay, there's a quadruple chance of this war being unavoidable.
Well, it seems like it was going to be unavoidable from the start because neither the Greens nor the Blacks are going to back down from their claim. It's more so the escalation of it with, like, things going really fucking badly optics-wise for both sides.
Yep. Look, bless Viserys. He had good intentions, but he should have named another heir. I kind of agree with Otto. Like he does have good thoughts. Like this is not a good heir to have. The kingdom is going to crumble under her leadership. But then again, they're like all their choices altogether are leading to the destruction of the kingdom anyway. So I don't know. It's an interesting question, like that. Throughout the entirety of the show, it explores succession. Who'd make a good king? And yeah, there's this. I think it was supposed to be first woman on the throne, right? That'd be
Yeah, Rhaenyra's had the chance of being the first woman, but Viserys got it, became king instead. So, Rhaenyra... Or sorry, there was, Rhaenys. God, these fucking names. Rhaenys had the chance of being the first woman. And then, Viserys got it. And then, his only male heir died in childbirth. So he named... And Daemon's fucking around, so he named Rhaenyra the heir.
Yep. To be honest, he didn't have good choices, but still.
Well, that's part of the unfortunate thing is he genuinely didn't really have that many options. Because he had part of why he did it was to spurn Daemon in particular for his fucking about. And because I had been locked in for so long, it's like it would be really bad to try and undo that to name Aegon the true heir. So, just a bad situation. And I like Viserys, but he's I feel he's portrayed to be, I don't want to say weak, because I don't think he's weak. He does what...
He's strong, actually.
This?
Pretty strong.
In some ways, weak in others.
Yeah.
Because he will put his foot down if it's something he like really strongly believes in, but he also gets pushed around and manipulated pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem with him.
Yep. I don't know. I think he should have named another heir after the fucking around. With the daughter. Didn't Otto like did tell him. overplayed his hand back then. He got fired, and now he's got fired for a second time. Uh, a king's hen who got fired twice. Now that must be a record. Um, usually you only get fired
Survived both
once in Game of
firings.
Thrones.
Yeah, he actually survived both firings too, so that's also a record.
Yeah. It's gonna be funny if he gets the job back and then gets fired again for the last time. I was trying to say something. Oh yeah. He should have named another heir after the bastards, or at least to some point he should have known to, like, okay, you're screwing around. This is unacceptable. Gonna have to name another heir.
There's just 6 seasons, and he gets fired once a season.
Yeah. Apparently, there's gonna be 4.
4 seasons.
Yeah, I don't like there being 4 seasons. I think originally I thought this was going to be 2.
I thought it was going to be 3. I
think 3 would have been perfect.
3's definitely greenlit, but there's some rumors of there being a 4th because they want to milk it. But I don't think this show should go on for too long.
The way to milk this franchise at this point is to just do spin-offs talking about different parts of the actual history. Like, I would genuinely like to see a show of Aegon's conquest where he takes over, or I shouldn't say takes over, but he, conquers the 7 kingdoms.
Yes, and fucking, people would be hyped to see the Fields of Fire, the original Fields of Fire. Like, holy shit.
I would also genuinely like to see a show about Robert's Rebellion, too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my brother loves that time period. He always goes on about that he wants to see Robert's Rebellion prequel series,
Keyman, Dance of the Dragons happened long before the Blackfire Rebellions.
That would be another good one.
That would be another one I want to see. I want to see Blackfire Rebellions.
And see, that's exactly what I mean. If you want to milk this franchise, there's so many, like, big periods to do shows off of that. Okay, you've got the Dance with Dragons, which we're doing now. You've got Aegon's Conquest, Robert's Rebellion, the Blackfire Rebellion. There's 4 entire shows you can make. There will be at least 3 seasons each, probably more if you want to do so.
They are making a Dunk and Egg show.
Yes, I'm really excited for that.
That's gonna release early next year. I've heard good things about the book. Now, I've only read the first Game of Thrones book, and then I heard, like, oh, it's not finished. I won't be in a rush to read the next books then. And I never picked it up. I've heard very good things that it's that the Duncan Egg books are a lot more cheerful, I suppose, more wholesome than any other Game of Thrones books. It's still dark.
Yeah, it's because of Egg. Mm-hmm. Because he's young. He's a young kind of, like, I don't want to say anything else, but yeah, he's a young man, and his very large
I know
companion.
He's supposedly a king or so, royal or some sort. I can't remember the name, but yeah. And he shaves his head for a reason. I'd be spoiled for that. But no, I'm thinking about purchasing, like, the book and reading that because it sounds really good. Because I find all this Game of Thrones stuff interesting, but it's just like what I wanted to see most in the Game of Thrones show of all of them coming together and maybe defeating, like, all the ice zombies.
Again, we have no idea in the books how I think, because the Night's King doesn't exist in the books.
Oh.
Yeah, that's all total fiction that the show made.
Oh, that makes it kind of even stupid how they.
Oh, God, you have no idea.
Yeah, we already had
your own invention, and you okay.
We already had a big old rant about that before you joined.
Oh, okay.
Not saying we can't get back into it, but yeah. I like how half of the stream has just been talking about how shit the end of Game of Thrones was as well.
That's funny. But yeah, Dunkin' Egg. I want to read it, but apparently that's not finished either, which is
Yeah, no,
fucking hell,
it's
George.
not. It's he jumps around a lot with his stories. Trust me, I fucking get it. I get why George. I understand, but Jesus Christ, man, you need to get Winds of Winter done.
Yeah, a dream of spring will stay a dream of spring.
Yeah, like
Um,
let that be a dream. Fine, doesn't matter. You need Winds of Winter done. The preview chapters are really fucking good and everything, but holy shit, man.
Apparently, right. So once this Winds of Winter comes out, the fans have been like, "This is what I'm getting from my brother because he's the Game of Thrones nerd." I'm just watching the shows and enjoying them. Once Winds of Winter comes out, it'll be a lot more easier to speculate what the ending will be.
Yes.
Because it's just Winds of Winter and Dream of Spring. Dream of Spring is the finale, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. There's just 2 more books. And George is how old?
He's in his 80s.
But he's also obese, and so I'm very, very worried.
Yeah. It's
He
actually
had
impressive.
all of COVID to write this.
He's only 75? I thought he was in his 80s. Either
Well, they
way.
joked, what country was it that joked that they had a secluded cabin on a lake that they would lock his ass in and say, "You're gonna finish Winds of Winter." A fucking country said this.
Was it New
They're
like-
Zealand?
No, it was not New Zealand. It was I'm pretty sure it was one of the Nordic countries. They're like, holy fuck! We have tons of lakes. There's a cabin on the lake. We will lock your ass in this fucking cabin until you finish Winds of Winter. You're not allowed anything else ever again.
The best way to prevent World War III is to get all the nations together and lock this fat fuck in a room until he completes that book. It's the only way to guarantee world peace.
Please, I need food, I need water. You'll get your donut once you finish that paragraph. Go on.
When the chapter is complete, the feast will begin.
Yeah, the theory is that he's ordered some sort of cake, a dragon cake, to celebrate, and he's met with publishers. Like, there's a whole conspiracy shit of him having finished Winds of Winter, and he'll announce it after the finale of House of Dragon. Is the theory, I think.
People are saying Poland in the comments, and it's like I could see Poland saying that. Of
Yeah,
all
I
the
can definitely
countries,
see Poland.
Poland would say something like that.
See, again, for now, that's just cope. But man, imagine how cool that would be in the end of the finale of House of the Dragon. Like, they show the book Fire and Blood closing, and right next to it, you see the book Winds of Winter, and he does the announcement then. Like, that would be like marketing fucking gold.
Yeah, that would be hype as fuck if they did that.
I mean, technically, House of the Dragon isn't House of the Dragon. Again, the Dance of the Dragon is only a small part of Fire and Blood, but still, fucking badass if that's the way they did it.
Well, the way they would do it instead would be they'd be closing the book of the Dance with Dragons, or the Dance of Dragons, or whatever. It gets confusing because the book is a Dance with Dragons and this event is the Dance of Dragons or something like that. It's like, oh my fucking god, George, please. Please.
Yeah, I mean, I guess to be fair, we don't know if it's literally going to end with a dream of spring, but I don't know. Where would you go from there?
Honestly, that does
Given-
sound... Just the title alone sounds like it's the finale. Because you've got a Game of Thrones, a Clash of Kings, a Storm of Swords, a Feast for Crows, Feast for Crows, a Dance with Dragons, the Winds of Winter, a Dream of Spring. One of those is not like the others.
Yeah,
A sausage of summer.
But it's just I am worried about it. I think that I am very hopeful that Winds of Winter is already done and he's just been working on it during spring and he's been waiting to release Winds of Winter. But again, that is, to be honest, entirely cope, right?
Yep.
But
Might hand it
it's
off to
because the
another
books are so
author.
fucking good. So I really do want to read the next part.
Would he hand it off to another author like
Like what
Brandon
happened with
Sanderson?
Berserk and stuff.
Brandon Sanderson. What did he finish? Wheel of Time. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know anybody. I don't know any author that I would trust to do, A Song of Ice and Fire.
I think whoever wrote like the first, I can't remember who wrote Wheel of Time, but I think he chose Robert Sanderson to finish off his books. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, and they were well received. Like those there were very detailed outlines and everything like that. And from what I heard, it went off without a hitch. So I'm just wondering if George could.
I don't think so.
Like that, if it's just the last book,
I don't think so because George has also said that his writing style is he's more of a gardener than an architect. Architects are something more like what I do, where everything is planned out more intricately and detailed. Like that this step is going to lead to this step to this step. So you have the skeleton done.
Mm-hmm.
Gardeners just plant it and they see what happens and they nurture things here and there, or they touch up on this thing here and there. And that's the way Martin has described his own writings. Like if you read the original outlines of what A Song of Ice and Fire was supposed to be, his original editor outlines, it is wildly different.
Yep. Agreed. Yeah, that you do make a good point. One of the things with like writing one writing advice that I found extremely useful is to always think of the ending first. Like notice like whenever we have like story ideas, we always come up with the beginning of it. Oh, this guy gets bitten by a radioactive spider, or this guy is turned into a giant hulking monster from a bomb, or something like that, And then they go on adventures. We never think of like, okay, where do you want to take that? What kind of ending do you want it to be? And it kind of helps you can be on whatever journey, but as long as that it leads to the ending, everything feels natural, like you didn't shove the ending out your ass magically. Or it feels disjointed in a way. It's really useful. I can't remember where I think I got it from a book. John Turby, I think I got it from that. 21 Steps of Screen. I can't remember the title of it, but it was
the most useful writing advice I ever had was just start writing.
Yes.
Stop overcomplicating things.
Yes.
Just fucking get stuff. Because the most devastating thing to writing anything, and if you've ever done writing, and I'm saying this in general towards the chat and everybody too, if you've ever done writing, the most devastating and hardest part is looking at that blank page and being like, okay, what the fuck? Where do I start?
Yep.
It doesn't matter if you're going to change the start later. It doesn't matter. Just start writing. If there was a really cool battle sequence that you wanted to get to, start with the battle sequence right there. And then maybe figure out, like, hey, do you want to start in medias res? Do you want to start at that battle sequence? Do you have anything that leads up to it? Or is that how you want the story to start with? Like, you can change that later. Just start writing. Once you start writing, things flow a lot better.
Yeah.
Like, I'm 180 pages deep into the book, the new book. And I started that like a month ago now.
Nice. What,
so
dude? Well done, you. I tried book writing. I'm terrible at it. I can barely write a page a week. I don't know. I guess, writing descriptions of the environment and stuff like that. Oh, this and this guy looked like this, and it's just so really boring to me. I'd rather just get to character actions and dialogue, and I love writing scripts of that. I suppose it's what film school imprinted on me. Like there's something about screenplays that I like to write them. I enjoy the writing process of it much more.
Advice I would give is pick out 3 characteristics you specifically want to highlight. You don't need to it's not a fucking Anne Rice novel. Jesus Christ. If anybody's ever read an Anne Rice novel where she needs to describe the number of holes in the telephone receiver, fuck off.
I'll name you one author better, Tolkien, describing the backstory of each and single branch in the fringy beginning of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, fair. But pick 3 characteristics, because your audience, whoever's going to read it, is going to fill in the blanks for you based off of the actions that character takes. They will start shaping and molding the character to how they view it in their mind. So, like, hey, let's just say Joseph walks in the room. Joseph with piercing blue eyes, a kind of gnarled, torn beard, and wearing scraggly clothes. Again, you don't need to describe anything about that more. People just naturally start piecing things together. Like, do people look up to Joseph? Okay, well, Joseph's tall now. We didn't have to describe that, but we said that, the other people in the room are looking up to meet Joseph's gaze. So, the person in their mind is filling in that they're tall. And so you've only just described somebody very briefly in a sentence, maybe 2 sentences. You've just described the person, and now you've moved on. You've continued the pace of the story.
Interesting.
No, so Emil has... keep it simple, stupid, is Emil's writing advice. I cannot stand that because people take it as it must be an ironclad hard rule. The same thing with the whole write what you know sort of thing. So like I hate these idioms because people get so obsessed with, show, don't tell. It's like, no, that's not a hard rule. Stop it.
Yeah, that's the big one for me that annoys the fuck out of me is show, don't tell. Especially when it comes to books where it's like, you're literally telling fucking everything. They're words.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't quite work in a book. Yeah.
Keep it stupid, simpleton.
I think write what you know has been contorted to a extreme degree, especially in all over in films and movies, in pop culture today. I think people interpret write what you know and my ideology, my beliefs and blah blah blah. It's just like that's not what that rule is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be more so the core of what you know.
What is your generalized interest? Are you somebody that's interested in history? Well, write a piece that's more historically based or seems more factual. Maybe it's from the point of view of a historian looking at events that happened in the history of your world. Are you somebody who loves fantasy? Well, write a fantasy novel. Somebody who loves gaming, write about a fucking, like, one of these isekais, or being trapped inside a video game, or maybe just talk about, like, this company that's making a game themselves. Like, again, these are your general interests.
Yeah. And I think like an extreme example of this is The Boys. The recent season 4, for instance, Homelander is a Trump allegory, and they make that really explicit, and it's just like, these policies, I don't like these policies because I'm writing what I know. No, that's not the rule, right? Okay, so you hate this politician, blah blah blah. Don't write about it specifically in the story. Maybe write about a, I don't know, corrupt king or something like that in your story. It doesn't have to be exactly what you know, just the core of it, or the feeling of it, or the kind of theme of it. It's never so specific, and that's why I think a lot of shows today, a lot of movies are so obnoxious because take that rule to the extreme, and it's terrible to see, and it makes for cringe viewing.
And it's the same thing with Keep It Simple Stupid. They take it to the extreme of what it is. Like, so we have to have a clear good guy, bad guy thing like that. It's like you don't have to. We have to have these exact things. Like this character must always be correct. This character must always be wrong. This character is always the comedy relief. No, you don't have to fucking do that shit.
Mhm.
It makes it more simplistic and easy to follow. Fine, but that doesn't mean it's good.
Yep, and that's something the Game of Thrones world nails is the world's not black and white. It's gray, and there's a little bit of good, a lot of bad as well. It's not afraid to show ugly side of even if there's a noble action, they're not afraid to show bad actions as well.
Yeah. And with the whole thing, Keyman brings it up here. Neil Gaiman took a trip across the country for American Gods so he could write a better story. It's the same thing in any story you write. It's like, hey, I want to write a fantasy novel, so like that. And so then what you can do is you aren't a blacksmith or a swordsman, but hey, why don't you look into what Hema's like? What do blacksmiths do? What does a carpenter do? What's the Fletcher do? What's his job? Like, what are muckrakers? Things like, start these tangential little things connected to it. And you'd be surprised how much more you flesh out your world.
Yeah, I can't remember who told me this, but I always I always smile and laugh whenever I hear it, that writers, they have to be kind of smart asses in a way. They have to, be curious about the world. Like, I remember it was like, someone telling me like, there was this author who was trying to calculate the light speed of what how far it would take to get to this planet, and he had to Google all this stuff, and he just found it crazy that of all the things, I'm for my little fantasy book, I'm Googling science fiction book, sorry, how fast this rocket ship, and it's just like, how has it come to this that you're Googling this autistic detail just for this book?
Yeah, I mean that's what I would do.
Yeah, definitely.
To try and get a little bit back on track, do we have
sorry about
anything? No, it's fine. Do we have anything else to talk about for these two episodes? I know we kind of did like a very brief discussion about a few key moments. Was there anything?
I would just say in general, this is clearly the lull before the storm, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is literally what is going to set up, and we're getting the pieces into play. That's why people are going to different areas and getting things established and prepared for the civil war that is obviously about to break out.
I guess that's a good question. Season 1 ended on them sending out envoys to different lords to try to get them on their sides, and episode 1 of season 2 kind of started on a similar note with Rhaenyra's son talking to the Stark.
What did you guys think of him? The actor playing the Stark.
I think he was fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
I thought, like, from his face, he looked really young, and he was just trying to, like, put on like a grown-up. I didn't like the grown-up voice, but apparently that's the only time we'll see him in the season, which is a shame. But hey.
Oh, that's unfortunate, because that's going to be my next question: is how much of that do you think we'll be seeing for the rest of the season? Because do you think we'll reach full-out war in this season, or is that still next season?
No,
I'd say full-out war is already coming. There's a lot of stuff that has to happen.
All right, so we're going to be seeing at least one big battle this season.
Yes.
I've heard there'll be a battle in either this Sunday's episodes or the next.
Ooh.
There's a big battle coming.
There will, but I don't know if, like, it's not going to be. I don't think it's going to be the battle that people are going to think it's going to be.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean,
So
we'll
it's just
see.
more smaller scale, but it's still going to be a battle, I suppose.
Yeah. They've been setting it up. Damon has now flown off towards Harrenhal, and Aemon is, I believe it's Aemon, for the Greens, is heading to the Riverland to talk with the Tullys.
Do you mean the king or eye patch guy?
Eye patch
patch.
guy.
Okay.
Yeah, the king
Sorry,
probably
I'm
isn't going to be leaving King's Landing too soon, if I had to guess.
Yeah, true.
I can't answer that honestly, Keyman, because I know how it ultimately ends up. I'll let everybody else answer. Which side of the conflict are they for? Which are you a green or are you a black?
Well, I guess the more, like, just to expand that question a slight bit, which side do you want to win, and which side do you think will win?
Yeah, like I said, I will opt out of the answering of that. My answer would both, they'd be the same in both cases, but I also know how everything plays out. So, that's unfair advantage.
Yeah.
Right. So
In fact, I'm sorry to cut you off. I will be right back and go to the bathroom, so please feel free to discuss.
All right.
Okay, so the teams, greens and blacks. I'm not gonna lie, I was much more green in the first season. Just because I didn't like Rhaenyra. I thought she's an idiot. But now, like 2 episodes into season 2, I'm even though the whole Kinslayer shit, I'm leaning towards the blacks. Purely because she has more likable sons and daughters. But I think that's kind of manipulative on the show's behalf. I still think Rhaenyra is bad. Doesn't matter how artificially the show tries to, pin her up. Yeah, Alicent is it's sad to see, but she's getting worse and worse in my eyes, which is unfortunate because I thought she'd be a bit more morally upstanding. But I guess it's war, so there's not going to be moral upstanding people a lot. I don't know. I guess it's going to switch throughout the show. Who knows? In the next 2 episodes, I'll be on team green again or black. It'll keep switching. But yeah, Kree, what about you?
Black. I
Black.
liked I preferred them in the first season. I felt they had the better claim, and all of Alicent's kids just seemed really fucked up. Not
Yeah.
even taking Rhaenyra's kids into consideration. It's just they were all fucked in the head, all of Alicent. So it's like, yeah, I don't think any of these people would be good kings or queens.
Eye patch guy, I think, would make a good king, even though he's. Yeah, well, yeah. Even though he's, himself. But apart from that, yeah, I don't disagree. It's weird, it's. I just know I don't want Rhaenyra. I don't think I want Rhaenyra on the throne. That's what's throwing me off.
I actually prefer her to Alicent, because Alicent seems like, I don't know, just the entire. I shouldn't say the entire, but for
Season 1,
most of the,
Alicent was okay. She's gone severely down in season 2.
well, that's the thing, is I wasn't a big fan of her in season 1 either.
Oh, okay.
I felt she was not completely on the up and up. I felt she was very manipulative in the first season that I didn't like.
Yeah, same. My position has not changed. I am still black.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, Alicent it feels like she wormed her way into the position, and at the last minute was like, aha, the king said this, actually, even though she knew it would cause like a giant rift in the kingdom and everything. And I don't like her. I'll be honest. I don't really like Alicent. she has her moments where it's like, okay, there's definitely a soul in there, but you're still a piece of shit, so fuck you.
Yeah, that's kind of been my take on her the entire time.
That's funny. That's what I think of Rhaenyra as well. Like, oh wait, no, she does have a soul in there, but you're still a piece of shit.
I don't know, and I feel like Rhaenyra is just, yeah, she's stupid, but
Oh, so you think it's more so incompetence than badness? In general?
yeah, I feel like she has more of like a moral standpoint to her. She's just kind of dumb.
I disagree. I think the decisions that she did with those bastards, I think that was just her not caring about the throne or thinking about herself.
Well, that's kind of
not
what I
thinking
mean.
that
It's like, I feel
yeah.
like she had that dumb, like, rebellious teenage phase to her where she was like, I don't care about this. I don't even want to be royalty. I want to do my own thing, sort of thing. And then that all came crashing down around her. And now she's starting to realize, oh, you know, these dreams, these, like, independence that I wanted it just can't happen. And I need to grow the fuck up.
Yeah.
And that's a big reason why she wouldn't make a good king. She's a woman. She reacts emotionally, and that's detrimental to Game of Thrones to act on emotions.
Well,
Someone like Tywin or Otto is gonna use the hell out of that to manipulate you.
I will say, it's not spoilery at all, but this will obviously set precedent for the rest of Westerosi history for sure.
Pagan, you knowing the end, do you think Kree and sorry, what was your name?
Setch?
Yeah, Kree and Setch. Do you think, knowing what you know, Pagan, do you think they'll
You've
stay
gotten-
black on Team Black? Because I've been switching back and forth. But are Blacks gonna do some bad stuff as well? I bet. Well, they've already done some bad stuff, but is Rhaenyra gonna do some more bad stuff?
Do I think they're going to do more bad stuff?
No, I'm asking Pagan.
You are
I'm
that is
pagan.
pagan.
Yeah, I'm pagan. Setch is the one
Yeah, oh,
that
sorry.
is.
I'm getting mixed up. It's 2 a.m. for me.
No, sorry.
Oh, no worries.
I am firmly Team Black.
Oh, okay.
Firmly.
Everyone's Team Black. Here.
However, I will say things are gonna get
Okay.
like this is a situation where the chat jokingly said that's the beauty of it. Nobody wins. This is a situation where things is absolutely just fucked all around. Like the Dance of the Dragons is a huge fucking tragedy. And House Targaryen itself views the events that take place here as one of their greatest shames. Like this is a total fucking disaster on
There's
all
gonna be a
fronts.
lot of deaths. Is what I heard as well.
Yes, there will be a lot of death. And again, all of this could have been avoided if they had actually done precedents. But again, they had already broken precedents before because of the Great Moot to declare Viserys as king and not Rhaenys as queen. Like, so we're already the whole situation is just scuffed.
It would have been fine if a certain someone didn't sleep around, and if a certain other someone didn't name her as heir, even after having 3 freaking bastards.
Yeah, that were obvious bastards.
Yeah.
That is still the funniest thing to me. I mentioned to Kree and Pagan while we were watching this that how Ben Shapiro doesn't get it. He's like, why is everybody so stupid? They're clearly bastards. They're clearly not of House Valyrian. And it's like, every single person watching the show, every character in the show knows this as a fact. The fact that they're not black is actually even more of a symbol. This isn't something that only you know, Ben. This is what everybody knows. Viserys is intentionally being obtuse because he doesn't want to face the reality. It's entirely his fault.
Yeah. There's a reason why, that one scene where he's like, everyone knows, it's obvious. It's like,
Yes.
yeah, because it's obvious. Everyone fucking knows, but you don't say it to the king because you'll get fucking killed.
Yeah. Anyway, again, it was still obvious in the books too, because they had brown hair and brown eyes. And it's clearly not Valyrian blood in their veins. It's very diluted.
You're cutting
Valyrian
out.
blood.
The last thing
Sorry.
we heard was they clearly don't have Valyrian blood in their names, and everything after that was just
Veins. Yeah, they clearly don't have it in their veins,
Yeah.
Then I did stop and then I came back in, or it's been so diluted, so it's obviously not two Valyrian houses coming together to make them.
Right. Yeah. So what I heard from Gary is that this was actually like an interesting change, because from the books it was just like, oh, they could be bastards, they could be not. You never know, kind of thing. But because they race swapped
Yes.
in the show, it is that much more obvious. I don't think there's a better example of a race swap that actually improved the plot. Usually when I think of race swaps, I just think of Netflix,
Yeah. And genuinely, yeah, it is. Again, it's still obvious in the books as well, because they don't have the purple eyes and they don't have have the platinum hair. They have brown hair and brown eyes. It's pretty obvious that they don't have the blood of old Valyria in their veins. Or they do, but it's diluted. Which would not happen if it was two Valyrian houses getting together. That wouldn't happen. The blood would get stronger, not weaker.
True.
Anyways, any final things to say before we wrap this up?
Good show. I'm glad it's here, and how many episodes do we have, by the way? 8 as well?
8 total, so there's 6 left.
Yep.
Cool.
Which I appreciate they're not forcing themselves to go to 10, right?
Yeah.
I appreciate they're like, no, we can tell the story in 8 for this season.
The last one was 10, right?
Yeah, season 1 was 10.
Interesting.
It felt kind of long in the tooth, and some of those, like some of the stuff felt stretched. Again, Rhaenys not killing off all the usurpers at that moment was...
Yeah. So it's interesting because we're getting this, the Duncan Egg show next year, and then we'll probably get season 3 a year after that. So it won't feel like as long as a wait, I suppose. Because this one was a bit of a wait. 2 years, I think.
Yeah.
Which I'm fine. So far it's been quality, so they've obviously done really good quality.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're gonna try to be back on Sunday, but there's no guarantees. Again, this comes down to the schedules of me, Pagan, and Setch, and whether we'll even be able to watch the episode Sunday night. And True Pop is welcome back for that, of course, but I know he lives in the UK, and we're like 5 hours different, so it is 2 or 3 a.m. for him right now.
I'm at a night owl.
All right. So yeah, if we'll try to be back Sunday. If we're not back Sunday, then the next stream talking about this will have to be next Wednesday, because I work this coming Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Sounds good.
I had a good time. We'll try to be a bit more focused next time. A tad bit more structure to it. But yeah, thank you for coming out, everyone. It's very much appreciated. And have a good night.
Yeah, night everybody.
Bye.
Yeah, bye.
Wow.